Pro football today here on SportsGrid. Kevin Walsh and Joe Lisi. We have talked through a number of coaching moves. There's still plenty more that we can get into, but there was also a general manager decision made in Minnesota that I think it would be a bit silly to pretend the Super Bowl appearance from Seattle didn't have an impact on. Mensa, who has been in Minnesota for 4 years, made the playoffs in half of them, was fired by the Minnesota Vikings. We ended up seeing a number of reporters say, hey, there was a lot of chatter about this. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. But I think what we ended up with was a situation where Adolfo Mensa could not have a two-piece parlay come in of J.J. McCarthy look horrendous and Sam Darnold be incredible, and it ended up cashing because McCarthy was awful. And in a way, the Vikings probably should believe if they had Sam Darnold, they at minimum would have been a playoff team. I think that's a totally fair belief in Minnesota. So do you agree that Darnold and the Seahawks making the Super Bowl is a part, if not a big part, of why Mensa has been fired?
I don't know if it's a big part. I think it's a cherry on top.
Okay.
The reports that were coming out, now maybe this is in reverse. Maybe you're right, and it was Sam Darnold's emergence and how he stepped up that they said, now all of a sudden we're just going to throw the kitchen sink about, his methodology and how he broke down utilizing PFF rankings and not, really watching college football and utilizing the information from scouts. I find that unbelievable to me. I do. If that's and these GMs, and I've said it, and Joe Douglas was another one when he was with the Jets that, he fell in love with Zach Wilson because he watched a Thursday night game of when BYU played Houston. And that was the game for him that really decided Zach Wilson needed to be a Jet. These GMs are complete jokes, okay? I do an NFL show. I do a college show. I watch 18 hours to 20 hours of college football a weekend. Mm-hmm. And I'm not even a GM. It's my job to break down that's what I do. I watch football now. What are these GMs doing? What are they doing? If they're not watching college football, what? If you're paying me $10 million to be a GM and I can't watch 10 hours of college football on a Saturday, it's your job. What? I don't understand. Then your job on Sunday is to watch the league and watch your team perform. I don't. What are these guys doing?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I hear you. I just
come on. I watch college football to 3 a.m. in the morning on the West Coast games. These guys are relying on PFF. And not to take away from PFF, but I'll throw a cherry on top as well. PFF grades it, right? I'm going to throw an outlier to all these people that utilize PFF. I'm grading the game, okay? Oh, guy gets a pancake block. Is the same guy you breaking down all the offensive linemen? Because what if I grade a guy with a pancake and you see it differently? Mm-hmm. So how do we get consistent rankings? That we all the PFF rankings. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I mean.
Well, I'm just saying there can be errors. So if that's what you're relying on, I mean, give me a break.
I don't think it should be the end-all, be-all, only piece of your analysis.
No, but you hear it all the time. Oh, the PFF, this guy's the 60-second player, right?
Sure.
Okay, great.
I think
what does that mean? What does that mean, guys? 60-second. Okay. He's the 147th wide receiver running routes. All right, great.
That doesn't sound very good.
Listen, could he catch a football? That's all I care about.
Probably not if he's ranked 147.
Come on.
I'm just saying, probably not.
Give me a break. So this is the problem now. This is the problem. We got GMs. We got everybody's analytical. They don't want. They're afraid to actually do the nuts and bolts. Watch the game yourself and make a decision based off your own eyes.
I think that is totally fine, but I also don't necessarily think that's the story of maybe it is. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't think Adolfo Mensa was fired because his PFF subscription.
No, he's making decisions about personnel by not utilizing his expertise, supposedly.
I don't know. Here's something I can tell you for sure. They brought in a bunch of older defensive linemen that graded terribly on PFF, and those guys were terrible. And they still brought him in.
Maybe he flipped a quarter. I don't know.
I think it's a little more cut and dry.
Okay, so you're saying
J.J.
Darnold
McCarthy is awful.
But
they watched Sam Darnold make the Super Bowl, who they had in their building,
right?
And that's usually enough to cost someone a job.
Okay, agreed. But then I'll push back on you. There was not one person last year watching those last two games for Sam Darnold against Detroit and against Stafford on the neutral field in Arizona that legitimately said, you know what? Minnesota needs Minnesota backers, fans. Nobody wanted Darnold back in that building based off those two performances.
Because McCarthy was already there. If McCarthy wasn't in the building, they would have kept Darnold.
Of course. But they still had a decision. They knew whether J.J. McCarthy was legit or not. Everybody was raving about J.J. McCarthy after the preseason performance that he had 2 years ago. He didn't start one game, and J.J.'s legit. Jim said it. In college, it's the best quarterback he's ever coached. Everybody took Harbaugh's word for it. And there was not one person at the end of the regular season, guru, GM, fan, better, that said, you know what, the Minnesota Vikings would be better off if they just kept Darnold and got rid of McCarthy.
I can only speak for myself, but I know that my analysis of the situation was that Darnold had to hold off McCarthy because they spent a first-round draft pick
on... But he put up 36 touchdowns, Kev.
And then, hold on a second. But because Sam Darnold did not have a huge resume of great performances, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then he was really bad in the Week 18 game and the playoff game. People said, okay, Darnold's success is about Kevin O'Connell. We drafted J.J. McCarthy in the first round. We have to see what we have in him. And we then, therefore, financially are better off getting offensive linemen, defensive linemen, and letting Darnold walk.
Well, then...
all of that analysis was colored by the fact that they had drafted McCarthy. It's not dissimilar from Atlanta. The Michael Penix pick was one of the most stunning things we had ever seen.
Correct.
Because they just paid Kirk Cousins.
Right.
And their GM is gone.
Right.
Ultimately, letting Sam Darnold go, you're right. We, in real time, we weren't surprised by it. Because they had J.J. McCarthy,
but he drafted McCarthy, didn't he?
Yes, that's what I'm
so. I think it's safe to say it's because he drafted him. It has nothing to do with Darnold.
Well, it's worse.
Darnold is the cherry. Like here, it just amplifies it to another capacity.
Yeah, it's that. So here's the thing about the Vikings. If I ask people to rank the 10 best head coaches, I think most people would put Kevin O'Connell in that list. If I said rank the 10 best defensive coordinators, I think most people would put Brian Flores in that list. So if you right now are rolling sevens at offensive play caller, defensive play caller, right, you probably should feel as if every year you should be competitive at a super high level. And for Minnesota, they get Darnold last year, and they have the second best record in the NFC, right? Like, this team was obviously very, very good. They then get JJ, and it is a complete strikeout. And the belief probably in Minnesota, who's extended O'Connell and gave Flores a raise to stay this cycle, that they probably are they find this all completely unacceptable because they believe that their GM should know better as to whether or not McCarthy is good enough to get them where they need to go or whether or not they needed to keep Darnold. And ultimately, Darnold's going to be playing next week, and J.J. McCarthy may not be starting in week 1 next year. We'll be right back here on SportsGrid.
Well, if you check the FanDuel Sportsbook immediately after the Mets traded for Freddie Peralta, you will find that in the National League East, the New York Mets are plus 160 on the FanDuel Sportsbook to win the East. That's followed by the Philadelphia Phillies at plus 200, and the Atlanta Braves are right there as well. And then, of course, you have the Marlins and then the Nationals after that. The Mets are favored to win the NL East. Buy or sell. The Mets, George, will win the National League East this season. Buy or sell.
So defensively, this team's going to be a nightmare. Pitching, yeah, okay, I like Peralta. I like McClain. But Craig, can McClain go 150, 170, 180 innings? Don't know. We'll see. And they have good depth there. Peterson, Sanger, blah, blah, blah. Everything they go there. Are they going to win it? No. Wow, I'm going to sell this. It's not so much that I'm down on the Mets, but Philly's still a good team. All right? Atlanta, a good team. I think Atlanta is one pitcher short of being that team. All right? And maybe they have a team that gets Gallen or gets Framber Valdez. Even those guys aren't the same they used to be. Atlanta's named to be a number one. Can they be a 4 or 5? Yes. And I think I would like Atlanta a whole bunch here. So it's not a knock on the Mets. I think they're a playoff team. I just don't think they're going to win the division. Small sell.
I am with George. I think that the Braves are being supremely underrated here. Like, this is a team that easily could win the division. Would they make another signing like that? I don't know that they would. Philadelphia's perspective, are the Phillies as good as last year? They don't, Zach Wheeler is gone for now, I guess. Is he okay? Can he pitch? Ranger Suarez, not there. Dallas Garcia, that's the big ad for the Phillies. So I think it's going to be close, but I don't think it'll be the Mets.
Fantasy Sports Today. Friday, starting at 3 p.m. Only on SportsGrid.
All right, back with you right here on Sports Grid. It's Kevin Walsh. It is Joe Lisi. We will momentarily be joined by NFL insider Adam Caplan. And, Joe, there's a number of different things that obviously we're kind of getting into here on this Sunday as we, get set for the big game. There's a lot of different there's still a lot of questions to be answered. And there's a lot of, openings still out there that need to be filled. One of them is a Las Vegas Raiders job. Though we know the prediction markets strongly believe it's going to be Clint Kubiak, who's, of course, coaching in the Super Bowl as the offensive coordinator for Seattle. One, is that what you are expecting to happen? And two, if that is what happens, what would you make of that move?
I think it's a great move. I mean, I said this throughout the week leading to last week's game. Kubiak's done a fantastic job.
Yeah.
I mean, the way, the passing concepts, how he's utilizing different looks to get JSN open each and every week is phenomenal. They put him in the backfield. They utilize motion. And now you get to potentially work with Fernando Mendoza, who's we agree is a leader, has stepped up in the biggest games on the college level. And even if he's made mistakes, he's bounced back. You have Ashton Genty there. You have Brock Bowers coming back from injury. You have the big three from an offensive perspective, right? Now, we can argue, do they keep Max Crosby? Don't they? I still think it's a good job. I do. I think they're a dysfunctional organization, though, with Davis because they're paying 5 head coaches that aren't on the sidelines. They're still paying Gruden. They're paying, all these coaches, McDaniels and all the. I mean, it's crazy the amount of money. I think it's $50 million for coaches that haven't stepped foot on the sidelines for their team. But you get a young head coach, I think he could be great. And now can he lead them against the likes of Bo Nix and obviously Pat and now with Justin Herbert? You need a mind like that with Mendoza, to be challenged and to challenge the rest of the division. I think it's great. I think he's done a great job.
I think there's a lot. I think it's pretty interesting. I think it's a pretty easy case to make that Clint Kubiak was the best candidate this entire cycle. He, last year, went to New Orleans, took the league by storm, and then Derek Carr got hurt. But, they looked – remember the first 2 games, they were scoring 40 a game.
Yeah.
I understand it fell apart. So then this year, he goes to Seattle. Again, no one has any problems giving, Kevin O'Connell all the flowers in the world for the Darnold performance. Well, it's Kubiak here in Seattle. The expectations were very – you have to understand something. I can tell you this from my preseason research – nothing about the Seahawks defense is surprising. looked like one of the best in football. McDonald's incredible. Always thought the defense would be great. Always. I this from the offense. Although the offensive line would be bad. The running backs were okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know that JSN had this in him.
I
And you
mean,
don't trust Darnold under pressure.
I know.
And everyone is a part of that. JSN went up a level. Darnold's been really good. The offensive line, Gray's able to hit on. Right, I understand. But Kubiak is also a huge part of that. And for Vegas to get Kubiak, some of that might be patience because a lot of times organizations aren't willing to wait for the Super Bowl to be over. There's a fear, hey, my guy's going to go here, my guy's going to go here. But I do wonder also if Kubiak looks at the Raiders job similar to how I know I look at the Raiders job. Maybe you as well. I think it's a really good job.
Well,
I think Fernando Mendoza is really good.
Well, there's talent there. I mean, there's offensive talent.
Brock Bowers is one of the 25 best players in football.
Yes.
Ashton Genty is a top, let's call it 10 running back, I think, talent-wise.
Okay.
So that's if Fernando Mendoza is as good as I believe Fernando Mendoza is, you've got 3 foundational blocks on the offensive side of the ball.
Yes, and you could build with that for 5 to 10 seasons. I mean, 5 to 8,
You could do it for Vrabel and May are going to expect to be together for what? Decade? 15 years? I mean, just like
Well, let's be
decade?
conservative.
Okay.
10 years.
Okay.
8 years.
No, probably 10. Really, right? That's what these guys are supposed to be. Like,
Right.
honestly. I mean, think of it like this. How many years have Burrow and Zach Taylor been together?
Since 19, right?
I mean,
20.
and how many years did everyone think Zach Taylor was bad? All of them? You know my point? Like, if you've got the quarterback, the coach probably, you know what I mean? Like, and so if you think the quarterback is good and you think the coach is good, I mean, it's just going to last, right? It's just going to last.
Yeah. I mean,
McDermott was in Buffalo. You're right, forever. They just couldn't get over the. Yes, there comes a time where hey, we can't get over the hump. I understand that. So maybe you're right to say 8. Let me not just say 10. But like if you hit on these guys,
yeah. Kubiak to me, I mean, is an unbelievable hire. I mean, again, the concepts, how they've elevated this offense, and think about where they were with DK, right, and Tyler Lockett when they were there. They don't really. I mean, I like Shaheed, but he's non-existent in the passing game.
he averages like a catch a game.
But that's my point. So and Barner's hot and cold.
Sure.
So who's the number 2?
Yeah.
So and
the run game.
But my point is,
yeah.
they have had so much productivity generated through one specific player.
Yeah.
And that's JSN, and how he's elevated to the likes of, the greats. Who's the best wide receiver in the league? You can make an argument about 5 guys.
Puka, Jefferson, Chase. That's like the class now.
But it's just, and to get him open on every play, he's open every play. How is that possible?
And that's where people talk about the scheming open, right? Like,
but that won't, and that's where you and I get frustrated.
Yeah.
Because when we see these other teams scheme a guy, one guy, and another team has multiple players,
and no one can get open.
and nobody can. We can't design not one play to get any of these guys open.
So what you're saying is Patullo's not going to replace Kubiak in Seattle. Is that what you're telling me?
Can you imagine that?
No.
Can you imagine Seattle wins, Kubiak takes the job?
Yeah.
Who would you get for the OC?
I'm sure they have someone in house. That's my guess. That's just we'll talk to Cap in our next segment. So maybe look, the thing is, if you're well run, you prepare for this. Now the Eagles, every single time this happens, are caught with their pants down. And they have to fire the guy the next year because he's atrocious. But so maybe Seattle will be the same.
Is that Sirianni's fault, or is that Howie's fault?
I don't know.
See, the GM.
It seems like Howie has somewhat recused himself of some of the things that I thought he was in charge of. He's you know what? Kind of Nick's thing. Oh, really? What's your thing? Then I don't understand. Like, I don't...
Well, ask Cap. Cap knows.
Yeah, all right. We'll find out after the break here on SportsGrid.
Well, if you check the FanDuel Sportsbook immediately after the Mets traded for Freddie Peralta, you will find that in the National League East, the New York Mets are plus 160 on the FanDuel Sportsbook to win the East. That's followed by the Philadelphia Phillies at plus 200, and the Atlanta Braves are right there as well. And then, of course, you have the Marlins and then the Nationals after that. The Mets are favored to win the NL East. Buy or sell. The Mets, George, will win the National League East this season. Buy or sell.
So defensively, this team's going to be a nightmare. Pitching, yeah, okay, I like Peralta. I like McLean. But Craig, can McLean go 150, 170, 180 innings? Don't know. We'll see. And they have good depth there. Peterson, Sanger, blah, blah, blah. Everything they go there. Are they going to win it? No. Wow, I'm going to sell this. It's not so much that I'm down on the Mets, but Philly's still a good team. All right? Atlanta, a good team. I think Atlanta is one pitcher short of being that team. All right? And maybe they're a team that gets Gallen or gets Framber Valdez. Even those guys aren't the same they used to be. Atlanta's named to be a number one. Can they be a 4 or 5? Yes. And I think I would like Atlanta a whole bunch here. So it's not a knock on the Mets. I think they're a playoff team. I just don't think they're going to win the division. So I'll sell.
I am with George. I think that the Braves are being supremely underrated here. Like, this is a team that easily could win the division. Would they make another signing like that? I don't know that they would. Philadelphia's perspective, are the Phillies as good as last year? They don't, Zach Wheeler, gone for now, I guess. Is he okay? Can he pitch? Ranger Suarez, not there. Dallas Garcia, that's the big ad for the Phillies. So I think it's going to be close, but I don't think it'll be the Mets.
Fantasy Sports Today. Friday starting at 3 p.m. Only on SportsGrid.
Pro Football Today, back at the right here on SportsGrid. Kevin Walsh, Joe Lisi, now joined by NFL insider Adam Caplan. A lot of good things that we can get to here, Cap. I want to just kind of pick up, though, from where Joe and I just left off around Clint Kubiak, the Raiders' job. That seems to be the expectation. We know that is one of two jobs available, with Arizona being the other. Is that what you're hearing around this situation?
Yeah, look, Clint Kubiak, by the way, had a second interview not too long ago. Obviously, he's coaching the Super Bowl, so they're going to have to wait. He's the top guy. There's no question about it. Now, there are other guys who took their name out of it, who are going to look at other situations, like Davis Webb. But when you look at Clint Kubiak, it's really a remarkable story. You look at his father, Gary, a Super Bowl winner as a backup quarterback, that a really good head coach and a really good play caller at OC over the years. And and then he's got his son, Clay, who's with the Niners. It's pretty amazing that they've done this as a football family. So, yeah, the Raiders, look, the probable pick is Mendoza. That's probable. The only reason why I'm saying it's not a lock is because they're just getting their scouting process to move forward here. But he is clearly the projected number one pick, number one player for this draft going around the league in my early information gathering. But the bottom line is the Raiders. They're trying to build this thing. They know they have to build it with a quarterback. Why not get a guy like Clint Kubiak? So they're going to have to wait a little bit longer, obviously. They got to get through the Super Bowl. And also, they could literally do it the next morning, right? Like, hopefully for the Seahawks, that they win the game. The next morning, they could just decide, hey, we're going to offer you the job. Do you want it or not? He doesn't even have to be there. They don't need a third interview. They already know where they're looking at here. So let's keep an eye on this. Nothing's a done deal yet, but Kubiak's the guy there for right now.
Cap, let's talk about the Jets. They're looking for an offensive coordinator, multiple names. Are we going to get one this week?
I expect it, Joe, barring a surprise. It would be a surprise to me. I remember we were talking about the Titans 2 weeks ago. I said that's going to happen within the next 2 or 3 days. That did wind up happening. But it wasn't Matt Nagy, though. It was Robert Saleh. And we know that the offense coordinator there is going to be Brian Daboll, which is very, very interesting. But when you look at this situation here with the Jets, yeah, this is everything that I've been told over the last 24 to 48 hours is this. Frank Reich is still the projected winner. Not a done deal yet. Aaron Glenn wants to go through his process of finalizing his decision. Got to get a contract done. Frank Reich clearly does not need the money. Remember, he got fired very early in his tenure with the Panthers. He's made a ton of money in his career. So I've talked to people who've talked to him. He's passionate. He's very interested in this job. Now, I think part of it, Joe, is they've got 4 picks in the first 2 rounds, including number 2 and number 16 in the first round. So they've got a lot of draft capital, a ton of cap space. That's not really, when you rank, Joe, what coaches want. It's nice to have it, but you want the draft picks. You want an aggressive general manager. Darren Muji was very aggressive trading away players and getting draft capital, the Jets general manager. So with Frank Reich, what they're going to do here, if he gets the job, and he's still the favorite, as I'm told, as of last night. But they did look at, and this kind of gave away the answers to the test. When you're looking at Greg Roman, who also interviewed, Greg Roman is one of the best run game designers in football. I had an NFL general manager told me many years ago, he said, listen, when we talked about it, he said, when you look at Greg Roman, it's the most sophisticated run scheme I've ever seen. This guy's been in the league a long time. He's great at it. Look, they got to the Super Bowl, as you know, with Colin Kaepernick in 2012. So he's great at it. Pass game is the one where people kind of criticize him, but he's great with a run game. Aaron Glenn, I'm told, he wants it to start with a run game. And also, whatever they do at quarterback, it's not like they're going to get Mendoza, because he's probably going to go number 1. And we'll see who the NFL people like as the second best quarterback. But it's going to have to start with a run game, and that's what I'm told.
So, Cap, I want to just stick there because we're going to get into some of the Giants stuff. Because of the Jets, I know it's probably early out, but do you have any read on what they would like to do at quarterback? Just like what would maybe fit the description?
With Frank Reich, he's a guy as a play caller. He didn't call the plays in Philly, save for one game. I'm told it was against Dallas in 2017. But it does start with a run game. Now, as far as what they could do at quarterback, Kirk Cousins almost certainly is going to be released by Atlanta. You could sign a journeyman like him to kind of just settle things down a little bit. But they've got to look hard at who would be available for a trade here. That's, to me, the best course of action. Try to get somebody younger you could build around if they can't get that guy in the draft.
All right, we're going to take a break. We're going to have NFL insider Adam Caplan stick around because there is still a lot to get to here. Of course, the latest out of Philadelphia. But I was talking with someone that Todd Monken getting the Cleveland job might mean more to the New York Giants than it does the Cleveland Browns. Because if Jackson Dart's going to be the guy, you have to have your offensive coordinator. And the Giants thought they had one until the Cleveland Browns hired him away. We will get into that after a break right here on SportsGrid on Pro Football Today.
Well, if you check the FanDuel Sportsbook immediately after the Mets traded for Freddie Peralta, you will find that in the National League East, the New York Mets are plus 160 on the FanDuel Sportsbook to win the East. That's followed by the Philadelphia Phillies at plus 200, and the Atlanta Braves are right there as well. And then, of course, you have the Marlins and then the Nationals after that. The Mets are favored to win the NL East. Buy or sell. The Mets, George, will win the National League East this season. Buy or sell.
So defensively, this team's going to be a nightmare. Pitching, yeah, okay, I like Peralta. I like McClain. But Craig, can McClain go 150, 170, 180 innings? Don't know. We'll see. And they have good depth there. Peterson, Sanger, blah, blah, blah. Everything they go there. Are they going to win it? No. Wow, I'm going to sell this. It's not so much that I'm down on the Mets, but Philly's still a good team. All right? Atlanta, a good team. I think Atlanta is one pitcher short of being that team. All right, and maybe they're a team that gets Gallen or gets Framber Valdez. Even those guys aren't the same they used to be. Atlanta seems to be a number 1. Can they be a 4 or 5? Yes. And I think I would like Atlanta a whole bunch here. So it's not a knock on the Mets. I think they're a playoff team. I just don't think they're going to win the division. So I'll sell.
I am with George. I think that the Braves are being supremely underrated here. Like, this is a team that easily could win the division. Would they make another signing like that? I don't know that they would. Philadelphia's perspective, are the Phillies as good as last year? They don't, Zach Wheeler is gone for now, I guess. Is he okay? Can he pitch? Ranger Suarez, not there. Dallas Garcia, that's the big ad for the Phillies. So I think it's going to be close, but I don't think it'll be the Mets.
Fantasy Sports Today. Friday, starting at 3 p.m. Only on SportsGrid.
All right, right, Pro Football Today here on SportsGrid. Kevin Walsh, Joe Lisi, joined by NFL insider Adam Caplan. And Cat, the New York Giants bringing in Harbaugh. A lot of excitement, but they don't know who their offensive coordinator is going to be because it would have been Todd Monken if he did not get the Cleveland job. So what have you heard around this situation?
Yeah, I got to tell you, man, that was by far, other than Harbaugh being fired, actually Todd Monken becoming the Browns head coach was the biggest surprise by far this coaching search. Really stunned me. And when had you had me on, I would have said absolutely Todd Monken's going to be Giants GM. He's not getting the Browns head coaching job. And then the next day he got it. Surprising, shocking. A lot of people around the National Football League that I really trust. But what have I heard around this? So they're very high on Davis Webb. Davis Webb was a third-string quarterback for the Giants some years ago. Then he retired. He's been coaching for a short period of time. He's a coach's son. He's the probable projected, as I'm told, new offensive coordinator because Joe Lombardi was fired for the Broncos. He's going to be promoted if he stays there. Remember, he took his name out of the Raiders head coaching search. So they know Davis Webb. He was born to coach. Here's a great story by a Giants source. Told me that as a third-string quarterback, he used to, I think after practices were over, it's either before practice, but I think it was after practice was over. But anyway, he would organize his own 7-on-7 practice just to get the backups more acclimated if they had to play. I mean, that takes incredible, really depth of thought and organization. He's going to be a head coach someday. That's, to me, a lock based on what I'm told behind the scenes. Giants know him very well because he was there. As far as Cliff Kingsbury, I know the rumors are out there. He does not have, I'm told, yet an interview. But the thing that I find fascinating, if Cliff Kingsbury gets an interview there, most people don't know they had one of the best running games this past season. Everybody talks about, oh, Kingsbury doesn't know the run game. He's just great with a pass game. That's really not true because look at how great the Commanders' run games shocked me. I didn't see that coming. Alex Tanney, who's a offensive assistant for the Colts, who's very highly thought of, who was a big-time journeyman around the league. He was with the Eagles a little bit. Then he went with Shane Steichen to the Colts. He's out there. Shane Day, I'm told. Shane Day interviewed for the Colts. Now, for the Giants. He is the quarterback's coach for the Chargers, and he's big on the run game. He's also done great work, I'm told, with quarterbacks. Shane Day's a name to look at. He's a little bit more of a long shot than the other guys. And what I'm told is this is going to be a thorough process for Harbaugh. It could take a little bit more time here. It could take through the week here. Never say never. That would be shorter. But from what I understand, is he's looking at a lot of candidates. Oh, and one other thing. He's going to keep Chad Hall. Chad Hall was their assistant quarterbacks coach who's been known for being one of the best receiver coaches in the league. He's under consideration, I'm told, not only to be the receivers coach, but also to be the quarterback coach, depending on who the offense coordinator is going to be.
Cap, let's go to Philadelphia. New offensive coordinator Sean Mannion, former NFL and obviously a college quarterback at Oregon State. What can we expect out of this offense? Because I do want to ask you, too, was Kings, I know it's in division, but you bring up how Kingsbury with the run game, this is something that obviously Philadelphia struggled with this year. So what can we expect out of Mannion?
Yeah, Joe, it's funny how things work out. 2 years ago, they were elite. Barkley had one of the best years in NFL history. From beginning end, he did actually have the best one by yardage. And then last year, they made a major drop-off. A lot of it, Joe, they think is injury-based from left to right. A lot of them beat up physically. Landon Dickerson especially, who probably needs to drop some weight and get off his knees. He's had a lot of knee problems in his career. Cam Jurgensen, their outstanding center, has had back problems. He had surgery after the season. But with Philly, with Sean Mannion, it's still going to start with a run game, but it's going to be a West Coast offense now. It's going to change, and this is going to be a challenge, as Kevin and I talked about on Game Time Decisions earlier this week. Hurts is not a timing-based quarterback. Rarely does he throw the ball on time, and this has obviously been a frustration with A.J. Brown, their star receiver, and they've got to get on the same page if he's not traded. But there's no question with Sean Mannion, it's going to change. And the run scheme is going to change. It's going to change to more zone, a lot of cutback runs. It's going to be different. I when I travel to training camps, I don't only look at quarterbacks, Joe. I look at how schemes are going to change. The backs should get the ball finally more in the pass game. For some reason, I don't understand why under Nick Sirianni the backs have not gotten the ball way more. They should. It's a West Coast offense. It's about getting running backs on linebackers. It's about getting tight ends more involved. Dallas Goedert set a team record with 11 touchdowns, but he didn't have a ton of catches. But he was unbelievable in the red zone. So a lot, Joe, to answer your question. A ton is going to change for the Eagles on offense.
Cap, Minnesota with a move that
Yeah.
I guess depending who you are categorized as surprising to move off of their general manager Adolfo Mensa. To me, this feels very quarterback related. McCarthy a mess. Darnold's in the Super Bowl. What have you heard around this situation?
I'm not saying you're not right, Kevin, for some of that, but from what I've been able to gather, and this definitely was a surprise to me. I know that there were some rumors in personnel circles that there were some things that weren't great, but the timing is crazy. I understand talking to people with the Vikings over the years, they have these organizational meetings under the Wills that can take some time. But you typically, if you're going to fire a general manager, it happens within the first 5 to 7 days after your season ended. This is just way too late from basic standards around the National Football League. It's very odd. And what I find interesting is Rob Brzezinski, who's their contract negotiator, who's phenomenal, by the way. And he does have a little bit of a personnel background. Rick Spielman brought him in, former Vikings general manager. The two of them worked together for over 20 years with the Dolphins and, of course, the Vikings. But it's kind of weird. Yeah, and Brzezinski is going to run this thing through the draft with help. But what I find odd is, why would you not want to promote your personnel director? That is very odd to me. You don't typically do this. It's very strange to me and they're going to conduct the GM search after the draft. This is not normal, the way that the Wilfs did this thing. And clearly in their information gathering, they were not happy with the way things were being done. They've done some weird things. You might remember when Brad Childress was with as the head coach. You're talking around 20 years ago. Things have changed since Childress got personnel control from Fran Foley. The so-called triangle of authority, if you're old enough to remember that, folks watching out there, that was under the Wilfs early in their tenure as ownership. So it is really odd the way that they're doing things. This is not normal the way that they've done it.
Would you then say, Cap, because the process is so odd, that we then should keep a close eye on Minnesota as we get underway this offseason? Because there are people who have wondered, is Justin Jefferson going to be happy there? There's the other side of it is, in order to keep Justin Jefferson happy, maybe they can't actually allow this level of runway for J.J. McCarthy to be the guy. The general manager who drafted him is no longer there, but you would know better than me. Maybe that pick is more associated with O'Connell than Mensa. I feels like I don't know now what to expect from them moving forward.
Well, the question is at quarterback, and I highly expect them to have some veteran backup. If needed, could push him. Okay, is it going to be someone like Jalen Jones is hurt? Could they trade for a Mac Jones who would totally fit this West Coast offense? Could they sign a street free agent, a veteran? Could they trade for somebody? That's very realistic now. McCarthy just has been unable to stay healthy for 2 seasons. More thumbs down than thumbs up, Kevin, in terms of his performance. Yeah, I highly expect a veteran to be added. It's just they have to move this thing along. O'Connell's done a nice job of working with him, and other quarterbacks have been there since he's been there. Now, we don't have enough time here, but real quick here. They made a cursory effort to bring back Sam Darnold. They knew he wasn't going to come back. And you obviously know what he's doing right now. He's playing in the Super Bowl. But when you spend a first-round pick on J.J. McCarthy, who, by the way, I'm told other teams had 3rd and 4th round grades, you're putting it on the line there as a general manager, and so far they've struck out.
Just quickly, Captain, we appreciate it. Any word out of Arizona for that job? I know Vance Joseph was rumored for a while.
Yeah. Well, no, Mike LaFleur has been way up on their list. Mike LaFleur, who's also in the running for other jobs there, like the Raiders. But no, Mike LaFleur has been that guy. Vance Joseph would be the guy on defense. The super guy, the guys like Clint Kubiak, I just never saw from day one.
Okay. All right. We're going to keep our eye on it then. We still need to fill those jobs out in Las Vegas and Arizona. We appreciate the help from NFL insider Adam Caplan. A lot of great stuff there. We'll be right back here on Pro Football Today after a quick break on SportsGrid.
Well, if you check the FanDuel Sportsbook immediately after the Mets traded for Freddie Peralta, you will find that in the National League East, the New York Mets are plus 160 on the FanDuel Sportsbook to win the East. That's followed by the Philadelphia Phillies at plus 200, and the Atlanta Braves are right there as well. And then, of course, you have the Marlins and then the Nationals after that. The Mets are favored to win the NL East. Buy or sell. The Mets, George, will win the National League East this season. Buy or sell.
So defensively, this team's going to be a nightmare. Pitching, yeah, okay, I like Peralta. I like McLean. But Craig, can McLean go 150, 170, 180 innings? Don't know. We'll see. And they have good depth there. Peterson, Sanger, blah, blah, blah. Everything they go there. Are they going to win it? No. Wow, I'm going to sell this. It's not so much that I'm down on the Mets, but Philly's still a good team. All right? Atlanta, a good team. I think Atlanta is one pitcher short of being that team. All right? And maybe they're a team that gets Gallen or gets Framber Valdez. Even those guys aren't the same they used to be. Atlanta's named to be a number one. Can they be a 4 or 5? Yes. And I think I would like Atlanta a whole bunch here. So it's not a knock on the Mets. I think they're a playoff team. I just don't think they're going to win the division. Small sell.
I am with George. I think that the Braves are being supremely underrated here. Like, this is a team that easily could win the division. Would they make another signing like that? I don't know that they would. Philadelphia's perspective, are the Phillies as good as last year? They don't, Zach Wheeler, gone for now, I guess. Is he okay? Can he pitch? Ranger Suarez, not there. Dallas Garcia, that's the big ad for the Phillies. So I think it's going to be close, but I don't think it'll be the Mets.
Fantasy Sports Today. Friday starting at 3 p.m. Only on SportsGrid.
Okay, Pro Football Today here on SportsGrid. Kevin Walsh, Joe Lisi. And just to let everybody know, you will be getting Pro Football Today Monday through Friday on SportsGrid coverage, all of our thoughts on the Super Bowl as things move to make sure that you guys are covered for the big game. One story that is going to hang around this game a little bit is Bill Belichick not being a first ballot Hall of Famer. Obviously, you're all well aware of the situation. Voting results were leaked, and they were able to confirm that Bill was not going to get in on the first ballot. I don't think we still yet know, did he get 39, 38? We just know he did not get 40. And there was a lot of fallout from this, a lot of stun from this. There's a piece of me that still slightly wonders if the Hall of Fame committee is just going to come out and be like, actually, he's in. You know what?
Okay.
Really, because never mind, sorry. What did you make of Bill Belichick not being a first ballot Hall of Famer?
I think it's a joke.
Yeah.
I do. I mean, let's call it what it is.
Okay.
He was, at the time, prior to even taking the job in New England, one of the most dominant defensive coordinators that we have ever seen, right? The ability to game plan, the ability to just, dominate on the defensive side of the football. The Super Bowl with the New York Giants where they kept Jim Kelly to 19 points and they win it. That whole run against Montana and the great quarterbacks was all due to the expertise and knowledge of Bill Belichick. So from a coordinator standpoint, he should have just gotten in, right? Now you couple that with 6 Super Bowls. Not 1, not 2, not 3, but 6.
Yeah.
And they want to hang it on Spygate, and they want to hang it on, they cheated, and come on. Like, seriously, it's ridiculous. It really is. And I know you're big on this. You love diving into these awards,
Yeah.
and this specific situation is a main reason why I'm so hesitant, because you're dealing with humans and you're dealing with objectivity and you're dealing with feelings and you're dealing with Bill Polian still holding a grudge and maybe Kraft. I mean, come on now. What are we doing here?
So, yes, I really enjoy these things.
And this is where you and I disagree, and you'll be like, but come on.
No,
and I'm
actually,
like, come on. Like this is like, if anybody,
yeah.
it would be like Michael Jordan or like I'm just saying.
Phil Jackson.
Yeah,
So,
I mean,
so
come
let me just say
on.
this. I actually awards care a lot.
No,
I'm
I'm not saying you don't.
No.
Right.
I don't really care about Hall of Fames because to me this is what it is. A bunch of nonsense. Bill Belichick, we shouldn't be talking about this. This is so silly that we're talking about
Well,
this,
because
right?
it's a talking point, right?
I know,
You know,
and
it's
I'm just being so on. I know that this is not. You don't. I usually care about Eli Manning. I don't care. I don't care. It's like, is he a Hall of Fame? I don't care. It doesn't mean anything to me. Giants fans really care. Pretty much anyone who doesn't like the Giants doesn't want to. However, okay, this situation is specifically interesting because people are drawn to absurdities, and Bill not getting in is absurd, right?
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, if I really wanted to, I could grab this mic and be like, just so everybody knows, I think the Patriots are going to win the Super Bowl by 45 points. It's my best bet. I'd go minus the 44, and people would be like, oh, my God. And they'd love it, right? It would be nonsense, right? This is nonsense, okay? It is nonsense that we're having this discussion. But there's a couple of different factors, okay? And how did we get here? It seems as if we've just got very wonky rules, and they've been tried to be explained by people, okay? A handful of people probably voted for other guys because they thought Bill was going to get in. A couple of people probably just Spygate, Deflategate, held a grudge. One or two people probably don't love everything going on with Bill last 2 years.
Dating younger.
Yeah, the whole thing, though, right? And then I wouldn't, by the way, be super surprised, and everyone's ignored this,
Go ahead.
if Robert Kraft was like, I wouldn't hate if I didn't have to share the stage with Bill when I get in, because those two clearly don't like one another anymore, and people believe Robert Kraft is going to get in this go-around. I'm just saying, I don't think that that's off the board ultimately, right? But the biggest takeaway of this whole thing is Bill Belichick should buy a bottle of champagne for every single person who did not vote for him, because this is the best thing that's happened to him since he last won a Super Bowl.
Why? Because
When's
of
the
the
last
media?
time anyone spoke this kindly about Bill Belichick?
Oh, wow.
Never? Is my almost an
You
inclination?
you think Bill did it?
If he's smart.
Like,
Maybe Jordan is a sneaky genius running the campaign. No, really. This is the
listen,
best thing that's happened to
don't
him.
put Bill in. I'm begging
When was the
you.
last time people spoke this kindly about Bill Belichick?
Right.
Honestly, Joe. It's all now about accomplishments, best to ever do it, clear-cut first ballot. This is an atrocity. People are going to be rooting for him next year at North Carolina.
Yeah. Yeah.
People have rooted against Bill Belichick basically his entire life.
Right. And now
He's loved.
He's flipped the script.
Yeah.
So maybe you were in his camp. Listen, this is the best thing for you. This is
You know,
what
I'll tell you, listen, all I'm saying is Bill Belichick's PR, it's not been a good run. This has been a good thing for Bill.
All
He's
right.
going to get in.
Oh,
We all
yeah.
know he's going to get in.
Yeah.
He's probably going to be unanimous next year.
Right.
Right?
So you think maybe he did. He said, "You know what? Give me a little PR
I
pump
don't
at
like
Chapel
I don't
Hill."
like the reasons that you defend him though.
What
Because
do
I
you-
think you've kind of shown your cards as to what it is all about, really.
Oh, me?
And yeah, it doesn't sit right with me.
Why does it not sit
It
right
just
with
seems
you?
a little ridiculous.
Well, I
honestly.
think the people that did vote against him are looking at the big picture about how he succeeded in life since Tom Brady left.
He's not. No. See, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. He's not.
He's coaching a college program,
Sure.
okay,
Yep.
in the ACC, one of the Power Fours.
Yep. Didn't go well. Went under the win total. Anything
He's-
else he's done?
He's
Anything else?
he's-
Anything else he's done that you've been impressed by?
yeah, I think his dating life is impressive.
There it is.
I do.
There it is. I wasn't going to say it.
I said it.
There it is.
Yeah, so okay.
That's what Bill Belichick has had people defend him due to the Super Bowl wins, the defensive game plans. Congratulations to Joe Lisi being the first and only person to defend
Not the
him.
first. No. There's multiple.
First and only person to say, I actually think the Jordan Hudson stuff rocks. So there's that.
Well, if you check the FanDuel Sportsbook immediately after the Mets traded for Freddie Peralta, you will find that in the National League East, the New York Mets are plus 160 on the FanDuel Sportsbook to win the East. That's followed by the Philadelphia Phillies at plus 200, and the Atlanta Braves are right there as well. And then, of course, you have the Marlins and then the Nationals after that. The Mets are favored to win the NL East. Buy or sell. The Mets, George, will win the National League East this season. Buy or sell.
So defensively, this team's going to be a nightmare. Pitching, yeah, okay. I like Peralta. I like McLean. But Craig, can McLean go 150, 170, 180 innings? Don't know. We'll see. And they have good depth there. Peterson, Sanger, blah blah blah. Everything they go there. Are they going to win it? No. Wow, I'm going to sell this. It's not so much that I'm down on the Mets, but Philly's still a good team. All right. Atlanta, a good team. I think Atlanta is one pitcher short of being that team. All right. And maybe they're a team that gets Gallen or gets Framber Valdez. Even though those guys aren't the same they used to be, Atlanta's named to be a number one. Can they be a 4 or 5? Yes. And I think I would like Atlanta a whole bunch here. So it's not a knock on the Mets. I think they're a playoff team. I just don't think they're going to win the division. Small sell.
I am with George. I think that the Braves are being supremely underrated here. Like, this is a team that easily could win the division. Would they make another signing like that? I don't know that they would. Philadelphia's perspective, are the Phillies as good as last year? They don't, Zach Wheeler, he's gone for now, I guess. Is he okay? Can he pitch? Ranger Suarez, not there. Dallas Garcia, that's the big ad for the Phillies. So I think it's going to be close, but I don't think it'll be the Mets.
Fantasy Sports Today. Friday starting at 3 p.m. Only on SportsGrid.
Pro Football Today, SportsGrid, Kevin Walsh, Joe Lisi. We got a week of fun.
I can't wait.
Really?
Yeah, why not? We'll break down the props. We'll break down Gatorade color.
I got a bet in already.
On Gatorade?
No.
Oh.
You?
Not yet.
You started to circle it, though?
Well, we brought it up on yesterday's show, and I'm going to say this. The clear's got no shot. The purple could be the trifecta. It's coming in back-to-back years. Three-peat. Purple.
Okay.
But I did tell Donnie, I said, like boots on the ground, right? It's got to be the easiest thing to fix. Like, I mean, like you're telling me week of the Super Bowl.
Sure.
See a couple of managers or ball boys coming around, right? Spygate, right?
Yeah.
Nobody's going to give that guy, listen, here, you lost the lime. You lost the lime Gatorade. You have no more. Use the blue. Something like that with a bag. I'm just saying, no? You don't think? I mean, come on. I mean, really.
But you got to.
You can't get a guy that's on the sidelines with the binoculars.
What if you get the game wrong? What if you got the New England color scoped, and then you get the game wrong? Seattle comes in.
So you're saying you sent out the wrong guy with the binoculars to go look at the Patriots?
I don't. You think the colors are the same?
Do both.
So you're gonna have to spread the bet.
Yeah, I mean, I like the red pink. The red pink to me, and the purple.
The one with the longest shot.
Well, no, I think the purple's got good legs. I mean, plus 650.
I like the orange, short number. Booked for a favorite for a reason.
No shot. Orange got no shot. No shot.
I like orange.
Yeah. Okay, Big Red.
You like? What are you going to be betting heads or tails?
No, I don't.
I hear some books offering even money each way.
Yeah, people like that. People,
and it's nice. It's respect.
It is respect. National anthem, all that stuff.
I bet the total number of Patriots to catch a pass over 6.5. You like that?
Yeah, because they go to the running backs. This Stevenson. Let me tell you something. What Donnie and I talked about this. Ready?
Yeah.
Under and over carries for Travion Henderson, 5.5. You sell the carries, you buy the yards. His total is I think 17.5 yards. That's crazy.
Hold on.
His number's 17.5.
Yep.
That's crazy.
But his attempts number's 5.5.
Yeah. Sell the attempts, buy the yards. You hedge yourself.
That's what everyone's going to do.
How do you know? How do you know that's what everybody's going to do?
Well, I'll tell you this. If you come across one person who likes his attempts over and not his yards, you let me know. You let me know. I already know someone who loves his long rush. Loves it.
Is it somebody I respect?
No. No, not even a little bit, honestly. It's not. That's what I've been trying to think
All
about
right,
with
so
this
listen.
game.
So this is how I start to really build the portfolio.
Yep.
So that's good info. You see, now you're really building. Now what we're doing is now we have a foundation to start
Yep.
for 6 days, 7 days.
And
And I
that-
like that.
And that's what I think is important. See, I've kind of been playing with earmuffs on, in that I don't really know a lot about what you like in this game, and that's kind of intentional because I like to watch it unfold, you know. And I think that's kind of the good thing about the teams that made it, right? Because let's be honest, if this was Broncos Rams,
Wow.
5 days of Ferguson and Ingram gets a little much,
Yeah,
right? Well, it does.
yeah, I don't like your attitude.
Well, here's what I don't like.
I don't.
Here's what I don't like.
Okay.
I don't like you loving a game to go over the number.
Yeah.
Every big name comes in and scores, and you're sitting there wondering when Terrence Ferguson's going to get another go.
I had him for 10 yards.
Yeah, how'd he do?
0.
Even if Buffalo was here, James Cook in the receiving.
You know, let me just say this.
Yeah.
SportsGrid is probably good that we're not going out
Right.
and we're going to be in studio.
Yeah.
Because if I did get a couple of these coaches,
Oh, really?
yeah, no, I would sit them down. What is the purpose of having a tight end out there running routes and you never throw him the football? What is the purpose of having a number 2 wide receiver? You're telling me on all the plays you devise, the number 2 guy never gets a look? Seriously, I would love to know that. Tell me how that is possible.
Well, folks, I think we have now set the stage. And really the lasting thought of this show that I want you to remember is that we made the conscious decision to not let Lisi threaten Sean McVay. Why the third tight end on the Rams wasn't targeted enough. See you next week.
Well, if you check the FanDuel Sportsbook immediately after the Mets traded for Freddie Peralta, you will find that in the National League East, the New York Mets are plus 160 on the FanDuel Sportsbook to win the East. That's followed by the Philadelphia Phillies at plus 200, and the Atlanta Braves are right there as well. And then, of course, you have the Marlins and then the Nationals after that. The Mets are favored to win the NL East. Buy or sell. The Mets, George, will win the National League East this season. Buy or sell.
So defensively, this team's going to be a nightmare. Pitching, yeah, okay, I like Peralta. I like McLean. You know, but Craig, can McLean go 150, 170, 180 innings? Don't know. We'll see. And they have good depth there. You know, Peterson, Sanger, blah, blah, blah. Everything they go there. Are they going to win it? No. Wow, I'm going to sell this. It's not so much that I'm down on the Mets, but Philly's still a good team. All right? Atlanta, a good team. I think Atlanta is one pitcher short of being that team. All right? And maybe they have a team that gets Gallen or gets Framber Valdez. You know, even though those guys aren't the same they used to be, Atlanta's seem to be a number 1. Can they be a 4 or 5? Yes. And I think I would like Atlanta a whole bunch here. So it's not a knock on the Mets. I think they're a playoff team. I just don't think they're going to win the division. Small sell.
I am with George. I think that the Braves are being supremely underrated here. Like, this is a team that easily could win the division. Would they make another signing like that? I don't know that they would. Philadelphia's perspective, are the Phillies as good as last year? They don't, Zach Wheeler, gone for now, I guess. Is he okay? Can he pitch? Ranger Suarez, not there. Dallas Garcia, that's the big ad for the Phillies. So I think it's going to be close, but I don't think it'll be the Mets.
Fantasy Sports Today. Friday starting at 3 p.m. Only on SportsGrid.